Hey everyone, it's Hayes, and in today's video we're going to be discussing the suspects in the case of who Daddy Agrest will reveal his identity to in episode 9. It's literally the only thing we know about this episode so far. Still don't have an airing date. I'm not crying, you're crying.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
So I think the most obvious suspect is Lila. The events of Ladybug towards the end of season 3 really solidified a partnership between the two of them, although I am a little bit confused as to why a grown-ass man cares about two teenage girls fighting over his son, but if that's his source of entertainment then I won't judge him too much.
None of my business, it's none of my business.
Either way, Lila and Daddy Agrest are already working together in some capacity, and Lila hasn't voiced this in the show, but I do feel at this point she is probably suspicious that Daddy Agrest is up to something much bigger. I made a whole theory video about this, so it's linked above with more detail in it, but I think Lila could become like a spy for Daddy Agrest. In episode 13, Optigami, we saw that he and Natalie finally worked out that Adrian was friends with all the known Miraculous holders, so they used him as bait to lure his friends to an event to eliminate them. The tone of this show it's just everywhere.
Why are you the way that you are?
I think Daddy Agrest could be using Lila as a spy at the school to see what the kids do, since Optigami can't be everywhere. Like I said, more evidence in the card above. But it has been very suspicious for Lila to have been in Guilt Trip and Wishmaker and not done or said anything. They don't usually bother including her at all if she does nothing, so I think she's there for a reason. I think she could be spying on them. This brings us on to discussing why he would tell her above the other suspects we have. Now, the way the spoiler was phrased is that someone finds out. This could mean he tells someone, or it could mean someone stumbles on him, maybe transforming, or, I don't know, discussing his evil plans. In my opinion, it was kind of vague, but if Lila is the one who finds out, I think Daddy Agrest would directly tell her because he needs her help, and he knows he can trust her. Lila is pure evil, and you know, she's good at it. She's good at her job, and she doesn't flip-flop back and forth like Chloe does. She's evil, she's good at it, and she knows it. She's trustworthy in her own way, you know, when it benefits her, so it seems Optigami was used to spy on the kids outside of school, and Lila could be spying on them during school. Like I said, more evidence discussing the Lila option linked above, but I think she's the most plausible option. The next suspect is Felix, and before we start, I heard that Ferry, one of the ambassadors, confirmed that Felix wouldn't be in any of the named episodes, as in the episodes we currently have names for. However, I didn't see this tweet, so I'm not sure if it's true, if it's real. If it is, I guess just disregard this part of the video. So, like Lila, Felix is reliably evil. However, he does live in a different country, and unfortunately that is the same country I live in. I wish he wouldn't, you know, do that. Live here. No, like if he could just go, I don't know, like to Scotland or something, have a couple of deep fried Mars bars, that'll keep him quiet like. But I'm not sure what help Felix knowing will be. Like, he doesn't live in France or in Paris, and yeah, he can get the Eurostar pretty frequently, I guess, but yeah, I'm gonna say no to Felix. I think he just wants to know more about the rings and maybe take his repressed anger out on a tree or something. Same with Amelie, don't think she'll find out. She won't be much help either, to be honest. There's also a theory about Lila and Felix working together that we should discuss, and well, to be honest, if they had to work together, I think one of them would end up dead. They both seem to want power, and having two people work together who want power isn't usually good. Natalie just wants to help Gabriel because she loves him. She doesn't really care about power, which is why they work so well together. Same with Ladybug and Chat Noir. Ladybug is in charge and he doesn't try to be the leader. Having two powerful people who have to work together like that is just asking for trouble. But to be fair, this whole season is Thomas Astruc asking for trouble. The man wanted attention and you got it. Are you happy now?
You are a thief of joy.
Also, hard no to Adrian, Marinette and Alia all finding out, or one of them finding out. We've seen the episodes on both sides with Daddy Agrest, which were Queen Banana and Mega Leech, and they all seem fine. I think if one of them found this out, we would have been able to tell by now, or, you know, they would have done something. Hopefully. However, we also need to consider what Nino said in Guilt Trip about wanting to stand up to his best friend's dad, but it wasn't that specific. We found out in Mega Leech Adrian had been lied to and forced to do that advert, so I think it could be to do with that or something else that happens in episode 9. I doubt it was about the identity of Shadow Daddy, since Rocketeer showed Nino can't keep a secret to save his life. Speaking of Mega Leech, let's talk about Kagami's mum. I do think the Agreste, Bourgeois and Saragi adults are all doing something together kind of suspicious. We saw in Mega Leech the Saragi logo on the oxygen shower, there was an advert for the cars in the movie theatre before Solitude in Godzilla, there was a logo of 2 rings for the Graham films, which is Amelie and Emily's last name, and Andre was a director and Emily was the lead actress, plus at the end of these we saw Audrey and Tomo watching the news about the temple in Tibet. Something is definitely going on, but again, not sure what either of them can do in the show to help Gabriel if they knew his identity. I don't think they'd be useless. Audrey is well connected, but you know, so is Daddy Agreste, and I guess Tomo could maybe teach him kendo? I don't know, it doesn't seem that they would be super beneficial to knowing. Someone who might be beneficial though would be Chloe, but unlike Lila and Felix, she's not very stable, you know. She goes back and forth with who she's loyal to, and she's not trustworthy, and again, what's Chloe going to do? Lila can keep a secret, but Chloe can't. If I was Gabriel, I wouldn't tell Chloe. Like, don't get me wrong, she's evil in the show at the moment. She is definitely the kind of person who would clap at the end of a funeral. But like I said, maybe we're thinking about this the wrong way. Maybe someone stumbles upon Daddy Agreste and they don't make themselves known, so he never finds out they know. Maybe Luke finds out. I don't know how or why he would, but Thomas Astruc said no one gets to be happy this season, and that includes thoroughly traumatising Luca. He's been akumatized, found out who his dad is, Marinette dumped him, sister got akumatized, parents get akumatized, finds out Ladybug and Chat Noir's identity. Why not? Let's really make sure he needs to have therapy for the rest of his life, and he can find out who Shadow Daddy is too. But again, doubt he does. But this is set before Wishmaker, and I feel if Luca knew his identity, he would tell Ladybug immediately. I think Alex is an option too, but I think she's more season finale material. Theory coming on that soon, besties. We could also consider Adrian's bodyguard randomly stumbling upon his employer. He has been noticeably missing for a while in the episodes. I don't know, maybe Daddy Agreste kidnapped him because he knows the bodyguard is actually nice. I do think he would tell Adrian if he knew. How about Plag though? Like, how hasn't he found the basement or lair yet? In Kwame Buster, we saw that he does explore DuPont in the middle of the school day, which is an extremely dangerous place since there are so many people around. But at the Agreste mansion, there's only 4, technically 5 if we include Emily, people who live there, but he only stays in Adrian's room at home. I do kind of find that hard to believe. Like, why hasn't he snooped around? I feel that maybe he could find out, but again, he'd have told Adrian. The final suspect, and I'm including it because I feel we have to consider all the options, and I didn't think of it myself, one of you suggested it, and like I said, we need to consider all the options, and that option is Ed Sheeran. So much has happened this season that no one was expecting, so I just feel we have to consider Ed Sheeran as a real possibility. Like, I think he's the most unlikely candidate, but I feel we have to consider all the options. But oh my god, can you imagine Daddy Agreste and Natalie doing the dance from the Thinking Out Loud music video? Jeremy Zag. I will sacrifice my soul to you to see that happen. So what do you think? Personally, I think Lila will find out, but she is also the most obvious option, so maybe it's not going to be her. I'd love to know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.